All right, so it's time. It's time for the Double Dragon story. Now, the Double Dragon story is actually a 3-part story. It spans like 15 years of just weirdness with Double Dragon. So obviously Double Dragon is an iconic game. It's a game that a lot of people love. I have so much nostalgia for it. I love Double Dragon. I love the soundtrack to it. It's just a phenomenal beat 'em up game. And I was first introduced to Double Dragon when I was like 7 years old. I remember my mom needed a babysitter, and there was this kid named Joe and his sister. And Joe and his sister were in like 5th or 6th grade, and I was in 2nd grade. And so my mom had Joe and his sister watch me. And I went over to their house, and Joe had an NES, and I was like, yo, tight, we're gonna play some video games. And I'll never forget this. We're sitting there, I don't even remember what we were playing, but we're sitting there, and he just like taps me on the shoulder, and he looks me dead in the eye, and he's like, yo, son, you ever played Double Dragon before? And I was like, what is Double Dragon? Like, this sounds cool. Dragons are cool. Double sounds cool. And he's like, yo, we gotta play Double Dragon. So he puts the Double Dragon in the NES, and I was just like, holy shit, what is this? Like, up until then, I'd only really played stuff like Mario and, you know, basic platformers and stuff like that. This dude just walks up and punches your girl in the stomach and throws her on her shoulder and just walks away. I'm like, Joe, we gotta kill him. We gotta find this man, and we have to kill him for stealing our girl. Now, obviously, Double Dragon on the NES was a 2-player game, but there was like the 2-player fighting mode, and then you could alternate. It wasn't 2-player simultaneous like Double Dragon 2 was on the NES. So we sat there taking turns playing Double Dragon, and I was just like, this is the coolest fucking game in the world. Like, this shit is awesome. This is awesome. This is so good. The music was so good. The levels were so good. The jumping sucked, but you know, it was just so much fun playing it, and me and Joe played that game forever. So fast forward a few years, I ended up getting my own copy of Double Dragon on the NES because I was kind of collecting older stuff while playing the newer stuff. I was 13 years old, and myself and Pecker Dupree, who was my best friend at the time, we would play a lot of Double Dragon because we were just like, this shit rules, you know, it's Double Dragon, like this is greatness. Double Dragon is great. So I remember we went to a microplay because Pecker Dupree had a bunch of money from like his birthday, and he wanted to buy a Sega Saturn because I had a Sega Saturn at that time, and he wanted to get one of those. So we went to microplay. I think my parents drove us there, and microplay was basically like, you know, it was like a GameStop. You know, basically you would bring in old games, you could buy games there or whatever. And I remember there was this motherfucker. I will never forget this motherfucker. His name was Wayne. Now, Wayne was like all of 5'2". He had like a Hulk Hogan skullet. He had glasses. He smelled like cigarettes. And this motherfucker, he was working the counter there. And so we're looking at the games. We're just looking around, and Pecker Dupree sees a copy of Double Dragon. So he picks it up. He's like, oh yeah, Double Dragon. I was like, yeah, man, Double Dragon, that's so much fun. You know, maybe we'll beat it this weekend. And he was like, yeah, we should play some Double Dragon this weekend. And fucking Wayne, the piece of shit, looks over at us, and he's like, Double Dragon? You guys never beat Double Dragon? And we're like, oh, no, we haven't beat it yet. And he's like, everyone's beating Double Dragon. I'm like, look here, you 40-year-old motherfucker who's probably never touched a woman without having to pay for it with your skullet and your glasses. I'm like, who the fuck are you, Wayne? Because he has a little name tag that said Wayne on it. And I was like, who the fuck are you? Dude, we're fucking kids. You fucking stupid motherfucker. And that pissed us off so much. So we ended up playing Double Dragon all weekend, and we ended up beating it. I think we had to use a Game Genie because it gets kind of tough, you know, with the limited lives. And once you get into like the last stage with the blocks and stuff that just come out and hit you out of nowhere, and that last fight could be pretty, you know, taxing too. So we ended up using a Game Genie to beat that game. But I was like, who the fuck are you, Wayne? Who are you? So you're probably like 6 feet under now, and to you I say, Wayne, good riddance. Good riddance, you piece of shit. But the Double Dragon story doesn't end there, because unbeknownst to me this entire time was that there was another version of Double Dragon in the arcade. So you got to remember, the arcade version of Double Dragon came out in like the late 80s, I want to say, and I was just, you know, I was a little kid then, so I didn't really go to the arcades. When I went to the arcades, the games that I would play and see were games like Virtua Fighter 2, House of the Dead, Top Skater, you know, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, stuff like that, Samurai Showdown 2. I remember they had Samurai Showdown 2 at the mall, and it was just like this huge, massive screen, and like for some reason they just had it dedicated to that. So I never knew a Double Dragon arcade game existed until I was like 22, and I was watching this movie called Haggard. Now, Haggard was a movie directed by and starring Bam Margera, and at that time, I was a big Bam Margera Jackass fan and stuff like that. Like, I was jumping off of roofs of houses and getting arrested. We'll tell those stories someday. But in that movie, there's a sequence where there's like an underground sort of arcade, and there's this dude, and he's playing a game. I'm just going to run the clip here because I don't think this will get copyrighted, but this is pretty funny.
Oh, shit! Fuck yeah! Oh! What? Oh! Double the fuck dragon pussy! Yeah! 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 Wah!
So watching this, I was like, wait, there's a Double Dragon arcade game? Like, what the fuck is this? How did I not know about this? Because obviously, this is at the time you didn't have your smartphone. You know, you went on your computer for like an hour a day or something. You weren't really looking up, you know, old video game news and stuff like that. So I had no fucking idea that there was an arcade version of Double Dragon. So in my mind, I'm like, holy shit, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. And you know what? Honestly, I'm really not that big of a fan of the arcade version. Like, I like it. I definitely like it. It's on my iArcade. I like playing it, and I definitely have fun. But to me, the NES version is like the superior version. And it's probably tied in a lot with the nostalgia for it. And then, you know, as the years went on, I learned about other versions of the game, like the Master System version of the game, which is kind of like a blend of the arcade and the NES version, which I absolutely love that version of the game. The Game Gear version of the game, which is like, you have guns and shit for some reason. I don't know why it's not just a straight port of the Master System version, because I think that would be awesome. But yeah, that's the Double Dragon story. So we have Joe, who introduced me to Double Dragon. We have Wayne, the piece of shit, who tried to shame me. Who tried to shame a 13-year-old RGT for never beating Double Dragon, because that's probably your greatest accomplishment in life, Wayne. And then we have the learning, the revelation that there was an arcade version of the game, and you know, I ended up not quite liking it as much as the NES version, but I still have fun with it. So yeah, I don't know the point of this video. This is kind of the whole point of this channel. So I can go live on here, and I can just make random videos when I feel like talking about something. And today, I felt like telling the Double Dragon story, because I really feel like it's a story that, you know, it's interesting when you think about it, because, you know, of how it spans, you know, the rise of video games and stuff like that. Because, you know, when I was a little kid, all you had was magazines. You know, that was all you had. Video games were still in its infancy. When I was 13, you know, it started to rise up a little bit more. You had stuff like AOL in order to get video game information and stuff like that. And then by the time I was like 22 or 21, 22, like then you had, of course, the ability to go online and search for things. It was still kind of, you know, early, but you could go online and you could search for things. So yeah, I don't know what the point of this. You know what the point of the story is? Fuck Wayne. Wayne, I hope you have had a miserable life ever since clowning me for having never beaten Double Dragon when I was 13, and I hope you like stub your toe and like, I don't know, get locked out of your house. I don't even want you to suffer. I just want you to be severely inconvenienced. Fuck Wayne. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye!